Back on Trojans Live, presented by Audi. For over a century, Audi has overcome every obstacle to create progressive technologies that change the world. Experience innovation at a Southern California Audi dealer today. Audi, this is truth in engineering. Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and on the line, 2007 All-American and recent retiree, Keith Rivers. And we got to see him on Saturday lead the team out. Keith, what was it like, man, leading the boys out?
It was awesome, man. It was a tremendous pleasure. I had a great time. I felt like I was a Trojan again.
You know, Keith, you ran 4.54. I did not see 4.54 coming out of that tunnel.
I had a pair of Nike Cortezes on. If anybody knows Nike Cortezes, you don't want to slip. I didn't want to ruin my moment.
You know, Keith, I just say you're a recent retiree. You wrote a very thoughtful retirement letter, and you know, other than being thankful, what was the sort of general thesis that you wanted to people to get out of it?
You know, just that I'm more than a ball player, and I'm not using any type of injury type of cop out as to why I'm playing. For me, it's although a lot of guys do have injuries, for me it wasn't about attention. It was about me just kind of growing apart from the game and wanting to thank everybody who helped me reach my dream.
You know, and after it was all done, and you're sort of home, sitting on, looking at your bank account, and all that stuff. How much do you miss it now? Honestly, I've never been a guy who, outside of what I need to do to prepare for games, watch a ton of sports. So, for me, I try to not to keep it on. Here and there I'll pop it in, or if I want to check out a former teammate or the Trojans. But other than that, I generally don't watch it too much. But going out there to SC, I missed it. I miss more so being a Trojan and going through the tunnel at the Coliseum. Yeah,
I've heard you say that before, Keith. I mean, and I've heard a lot of guys say that. And the NFL is a business, but their real passion when they start looking back at their careers or what happened, here at USC. Why did you like, assuming that this is true, why did you like USC more than the league?
At USC, Coach Carroll did something that not a lot of coaches can do. Tom Coughlin, when I played for the Giants, did it on the opposite extreme. But Coach Carroll, the players coach, and he made it so fun. You would run through a wall for the guy. And I mean, practice we're always amped up, and we'd go out there, and you were just out there with your friends playing ball, kind of like you were like as a kid. When you get to the NFL, there's a GM, they draft, and you're not always with a bunch of guys you kind of gel with, or guys you care to hang out with outside of football. So it's, at college you choose where you want to go, and you're generally at a place where, you feel are similar guys, and you get along really well, and guys you can hang out with after practice and have that brotherhood with.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Keith, you have one of the most interesting recruiting stories, going back. Of course, you were from Florida. At that time, USC, I don't know if we had anybody from Florida on the team. Okay, so there were one or two guys that were.
Yeah. Mike Williams. Mike was the one that really opened that Florida pipeline, I think, right?
Right, but the story goes that you got a call 2 a.m. in the morning on recruiting day, on signing day, and that was the one from I don't know from which coach or whatever, but that was the thing that sort of swayed you or really sort of convinced you that you're making the right decision. How true is that story?
Oh no, that got ran in the telephone line. That was I was on the coach with Ron Zook till about 2 in the morning with Charlie Strong and those guys till about 2 in the morning, trying to get swayed to go to Gainesville, to go to UF.
Oh, gotcha. And then of course that Pete was too strong of influence.
Yeah, I went there and I went to SC, and I guess the whole thing during recruiting, everybody kind of tells you is you'll know when it's right, and I talked to the players won't lie. And when I went to USC, you had all these top players, and me coming in as a top 5 recruit in the nation, and all blah blah blah. Guys still loved on me and hey man, we want you to come here, we want you to play here, we want you to compete here, and you just don't get that at every university because you don't have coaches like Coach Carroll fostering that environment where competition and competing.
I'm wondering, when we were talking about the NFL, you had so many talented teammates, and some of them have been very successful in the league, and some of them have been less so. People always bring this question up. Can you put your finger, now that you're out of it, on basically on the difference in people's career paths and what's made some of these guys successful and some of them have never found their place in the NFL?
I think with anybody, I think it all goes into situation. some guys get drafted higher and they go into a crummy situation where they don't necessarily have somebody to teach them how to be a pro, or just teach them how to take care of their bodies and how to really just invest all your time and energy into your craft. And so I think some guys get in a situation where they have somebody to kind of be a steward them and teach them all the ropes. And sometimes guys get into a situation where they don't have that, and they kind of got to rely on their own devices, and they make mistakes, and not necessarily off the field, but just they don't study enough. They don't dedicate enough time to the ball.
Keith, talk about the meaning of wearing 55 in a USC uniform. I personally think number one has more meaning, but with wearing 55, what kind of obligation did you feel playing behind Sal, McGinnis, Claiborne, those type of guys?
It's a huge honor, and there's a ton of pressure coming in. Everybody knows who the recruits are coming in, but still there's like, man, this kid from Florida's wearing 55, and you could just hear people when you walk by say that. But I guess a little story I'll tell that's real brief is I was at practice and wasn't necessarily giving the best effort, and Lofa Tatupu looked at me and goes, "Hey man, what are you doing? Those fives mean too much. You gotta give your best." So that's the kind of pressure that those fives give you.
It's funny too, because Lofa's 58 now has sort of become another legacy number. We were talking about Osa Messina and Ray Maluga. So a great legacy, and certainly you held up your end of the bargain, Keith. Thank you so much for joining us on Trojans Live. It's fun seeing you back in the Coliseum on Saturday night. We're going to come back and wrap this show up. You're listening to Trojans Live on ESPN LA 710.